monthly brain swapping events where people are, all of you that are here and a lot of people that aren't here tonight also have such amazing things going on in your brains and in your hearts and in your lives. And so I wanted to create a space for everyone to share that. And so this is that, but you got 5 minutes to do it. So tonight we have 3 presenters. Our first presenter is Adam Rosendahl. He'll be talking about his project Late Night Art, changing our world with late night art. And then second, we have Andy Schreiner, who's exploring risk through math and storytelling. And then last, we've got Bridget Cronier, How to Avoid the Tap, a facilitated discussion on cunnilingus. What they're about to do, these 3 presenters are going to tell their story in 5 minutes with 20 slides, auto-advancing at 15 seconds per slide. It's a rough job, and they've all got it. So our first presenter tonight will be Adam Rosendahl. Adam's a social artist, a DJ, and an experienced designer. He's working with creativity and social change in Oakland, and he produces events and workshops around the world. I met him at a conference for social and environmental change makers in Bolinas, crazy, awesome event. And he just brought this idea like, hey, this is a thing I'm doing, and it just made me melt. So I'm really excited that you're here. This particular project is a collaboration with Julian Thomas, and you started it in 2010? Yes. Okay. And you're, Adam's also contracting, doing a couple of other projects, all working with social change and some youth empowerment. So with a dream to create a more connected culture and creative culture, you started Late Night Art, and Adam's going to talk to us about that now. Come on.
Cool.
Woo.
Are we going? Right.
Left mouse. Oh, did it go?
Just gotta hit play.
Bam.
Bang.
Go.
Go.
Okay. Hello. All right. Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
So we live in a society where art and the kind of act of creating art is pushed into very specific places. So often, you know, people think about art, they think about this world of high art, people in galleries, on stages, and then there's also children, you know, who are always considered creative and it's kind of accepted, and then there's kind of everyone else. So a lot of people go through their lives, you know, that I know, and they kind of disassociate from the world of creativity and art. They say, I'm an accountant, whatever. And they kind of, you know, they might go to their grave without even picking up a paintbrush. And sometimes all it takes is actually just one event or one experience or one voice to really spark people to like actually shift and kind of claim that identity of being a creative person. And I found that to be true in the work that I've done. In 2010, I was an art teacher in Seattle. I was working in a school. All my students had been kicked out of public school in Seattle and were pretty disengaged, pretty much hated my class. And I got to a place where I was either going to quit my job or get really radical with my teaching style. So I brought in a huge boombox and a sound system, and I started doing a bunch of interesting kind of like facilitated things with my classroom to mix it up. One of the things I was doing is I was putting paper all over the room and having students draw for short periods of time to music and create these collaborative pieces together. And it totally shifted the culture of my class. This is my class. So I kind of took these things that I was doing, and I partnered up with this guy, Julian. He added an element of dialogue, and we threw a party at his mom's house in Vancouver. This is that night. We added alcohol, we brought some beer, and I was DJing that night, and there was people from a lot of different countries that were here. And what happened was pretty magical. The connections that happened, there was one woman there who was about 70 years old. She said afterwards, she was crying, she said, I haven't actually picked up a paintbrush in 30 years, and tomorrow I'm going to go buy a set of watercolors. And for me, I realized that there is an opportunity here to really light people up. In one evening, I can kind of shift the way they think about themselves. So there's a woman who was there that first event. She was like, you guys have a business here, you should call it Late Night Art. You should add a gourmet, you should add a gourmet food element. And we were like, okay. And we did. And so Julian threw the first event in Vancouver under this name, Late Night Art. I quickly moved down to Oakland, and I started throwing events under this name, Late Night Art, in 2012. The first event we led was in Fruitvale in a warehouse, and it was about 20 people, and it quickly accelerated. This is at Impact Hub Oakland, and it went from 20 people to 30 to 40. And then over the last 2.5 years, we've led an event once a month, consistently with 60 people, and it's sold out every single time. So this is a little bit of what it sort of looks like, these long tables, banquet tables, covered in a roll of watercolor paper and art supplies. And what the event actually is I'm on a microphone, and I'm facilitating these kind of provocative social interaction with strangers, asking them to respond to questions with art supplies, illustrating their answers, getting people to look each other in the eyes, all sorts of things, just to kind of push the boundary. And in a lot of ways, I'm tricking people into being creative, using like fun, great music, creating really nice environments. And it's been pretty profound. I've worked with over 2,500 people. I've done it 53 times over the last 3 years in 4 different countries. We did it in Istanbul, which was super interesting, just like seeing culturally how different it is, working with like social interaction between Turkish people. It was very awkward actually, and like they really didn't want to look each other in the eyes. I have a lot of facilitator friends around the world, and I gave a presentation similar to this one last summer. One of my friends who was in the audience lives in Kampala, Uganda, and works for a youth empowerment organization and started leading late night art with the youth he works with. And he does it now on a regular basis. Pretty quickly, people started asking me to come into their organizations. I found myself working for the US Probation Office with federal probation officers about 3 months ago. 2 weeks ago, I worked at Old Navy. I went into Sonoma State University. We do events at the California Academy of Sciences like almost every month now at NITE. And it's been amazing how quickly this kind of fun workshop is shifting the culture of companies and is really making beautiful things happen between relationships between people. This is kind of our tagline. If you want to change our culture, throw a better party. A lot of people call late night art the better party. It's kind of the place where amazing things happen, magic is created. And we have a lot of things going right now. So every single month the theme changes, the location changes. Our next event is on April 4th. The theme is movement, and it's at Impact Hub Oakland downtown. So we're bringing in dancers, and we're bringing in a bunch of other folks to kind of stir up that theme. We're also doing an event at Nightlife on April 16th. So that's super exciting.